headed up towards Jacksonville. It looks like the rain is beginning to wind down. They may just run into some rain there along the interstate, so that's good news.
And we have been focusing on the eastern side, so Tuscaloosa, some of the other parts of Alabama, that threat should be winding down.
Right. The threat for Tuscaloosa County, Jefferson County, Blount County have been removed from the tornado watch. You can see the areas highlighted here. So Chilton, Coosa, Shelby, Talladega, Clay, Cleburne, and then Randolph. You get up into Calhoun County as well. And I don't know, I might have missed St. Clair, but St. Clair included in that. And again, we'll trim these back as we continue, or they may just blanket clear this at midnight once they allow this to go. James?
I want to mention we got more school closings. This is coming from Calhoun County EMA. The following schools are closed tomorrow: Calhoun County Schools, Jacksonville Christian Academy, the Donahoe School, Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic School in Anniston. Those are all closed. So again, because of storm damage, all Calhoun County schools are closed tomorrow. Jacksonville Christian Academy, the Donahoe School, Sacred Heart of Jesus Catholic School in Anniston, and those are closed. So that's the situation there. We got more of those closings coming in here. And let me read one report. And again, we're starting to hear from folks with relatives in Jacksonville. This is from an assistant professor in Statesboro, Georgia, at a college there. She says, "My sister is safe away for spring break, but her JSU apartment is basically gone." And again, that's what we've talked about. It's just a God kind of thing that a lot of these kids weren't in town. Her aunt and uncle are safe, but they're trapped in one room of what is left of their house in Jacksonville. So understand, we have people that are trapped. We have people that are still needing rescue. It is a very, very intense search and rescue scene in Jacksonville right now. And again, it's a situation. Do we have Brandon's live stream by any chance, or is he down again? Okay.
It looks like
again,
it's connected.
With that coming up and down.
All right.
Yeah, let's take. We've got
See
his
if we
stream.
have it.
I'd like to take that because he again is in Jacksonville, and right, and he's got issues.
My
There we go.
goodness.
This is Jacksonville.
Wow, look at
geez.
that.
So what I want to do is I want to leave this up the whole time and understand we know that there's severe damage in Southside. And as soon as we get Jennifer in there, we are going to show Southside, but again, we want to focus on these two areas. And of course, we're not going to forget all the hail damage, but this is a live look at Jacksonville right now. And you're going to see that video buffering like that. We have, anytime you got a tornado situation like this, all these fancy phones and live views and everything else, they don't work so well sometimes. But again, this is coming from Brandon, and we'll hold it here for a second and see if it comes back up. But communication is going to be a big problem getting in there. But Brandon, okay, we understand we have to show some Russellville video, so let's just roll that. This is from earlier today. This was the first batch of severe storms that came through Franklin County. Franklin County is up in the Tennessee Valley. And again, we've had some damage there. The extent of damage, I don't know. Some of the most serious damage up in the Tennessee Valley came from a storm that passed near Elkmont and Ardmore, near the Tennessee state line. But you can obviously see there's some flying debris, fierce, ferocious winds in this storm. It was obviously severe. This was warned. It was a tornado-warned storm. I don't know if the damage in Russellville is caused by a tornado or not. But again, that was what it looked like earlier today at Russellville in Franklin County up in the northwestern part of the state. And that's what all these storms have looked like today that have passed through North Alabama. We've had that type of wind. We've had unbelievably brutal, destructive hail up to the size of softballs affecting the state tonight. So many counties have hail damage. And of course, we've had tornado damage. We've had reports of tornado damage in Morgan County, reports of damage in Franklin County there. John Brown, our guy, was on that storm for a while today. We've had reports of, again, the tornado that passed near the Tennessee state line way up north. And of course, reports of damage in parts of St. Clair County, reports of damage in northern Cleburne County, the damage at Jacksonville, damage at Nances Creek. Okay, and I'm sorry, is this a report or just live video?
It's Brett. Brett Adair with
Hey, Brett, this is James. What you got?
Hey, James, we are here right across. We're at the Dollar General here in Jacksonville, watching some of the search and rescue operations go on here along Highway 21. As you well know, lots of damage, tons of emergency responders out. A lot of search and rescue operations are going on at Gamecock Village and the Reserve from what we know right now.
Brett, you've been doing this a long time. What are your first thoughts of what type tornado this was?
From the damage I see right now, James, I would say, obviously at least EF2, EF3 type tornado. We've seen a lot of cars that sustained some serious damage. We heard a report that one was in a tree. We have not witnessed that yet. We went to the Coliseum. A lot of those walls over there, there's some brick walls that are out front, and a lot of the large oak trees were taken down. Still trying to get back here. We're told that the worst area is back in these apartments, so we're going to try to get back here and see if there's some more, serious damage compared to what we've seen so far.
Okay, and again, I would assume that Jacksonville police probably had to call for a lot of help for this thing. It's a fairly small police department, and it looks like they're going to need a lot of help from a lot of agencies.
They did. We're told that some agencies, even over as far west as St. Clair County, which Southside and Alexandria areas took a hit too, so they're pretty busy. But they tried to sound an all call to get more help here. But there's definitely more than Jacksonville PD and the EMS and Fire and Rescue here. I would say in terms of emergency response, I see at least 100 responders here on scene now.
Do you know anything about the health and welfare of the people that live there?
We do know for sure that there are injuries. We don't know the extent or if there's any fatalities at this point. We're hoping not. We know that there's, in the distance, a lot of chainsaws. There's lots of trees down on the roadways and even some of the walking paths. They're having to cut those trees up and get those out of the way so they can get in and check on some of these folks right now.
Okay, Brett. Well, we're going to keep your live stream up, and thanks for your work today. And I know it's been a long day, and we appreciate it. We'll talk with you again soon, but we're going to keep your live stream up. All right, that's Brett Adair, who is in Jacksonville, and again, we're going to be watching him, and as soon as Brett begins to move around, but if we've got either Brandon or Brett's live stream available, they'll let me know. We're going to take that live, because the last thing people need to see, it's us. They want to see the damage. Again, here's your storms, and they're now south of Interstate 20, from south of Talladega down around Chandler Springs, right on top of Chehaw State Park, the highest point in the state, over to the Cleburne-Randolph County line. These are sagging to the south, and the good news, they are slowly weakening. The air becoming more stable late tonight, and again, the tornado watch will continue until midnight. That's for a little less than 1 hour for these counties. And again, we stress that Jefferson and Tuscaloosa and Walker and Cullman are out of the tornado watch. The severe weather threat is ended. We have a tornado watch in effect for St. Clair, Calhoun, Cleburne, Randolph, Clay, Talladega, Shelby, Coosa, and Chilton. Counties here in yellow. For Etowah County and Blount, that's an aerial flood warning for heavy rain. That is a flash flood warning in effect for Cullman County. But again, for Blount and Cullman, the chance of any severe storms has ended for tonight. And again, in coming days, the air becomes cool and stable, and we have no more issues with severe thunderstorms, which is certainly a good thing. What I'm going to do, let's go back to WEX 05, if we can do that. If you missed that, this is video of the tornado as it approached Jacksonville earlier this evening. And this is courtesy of Rita Lewis, and we want to thank Rita and Greg for getting this to us. And again, this is very credible. I have reason to believe that is the tornado, and this is very good video of that. So again, this is what it looked like. Brenda, go ahead.
All right, James, we also understand that the West Point Church has been pretty much destroyed on Highway 204 just outside of Jacksonville. Sheriff Matthew Wade sent this picture in. You can see it looks like the church has been devastated, just cut in half. It looks completely destroyed, but of course they're saying the pastor said that the building is damaged, but the church, the members are intact. I'm sure they will rebuild. Of course, the church members are okay, but we thank the sheriff for sharing that bit of information with us. So you do hope that there is just reduced injuries in this. We do know people are trapped, but as far as the church is concerned, the building is damaged, but the people are intact.
And we know the church is not the building. The church is the
People,
Right.
that's it, the members. So
there you
there
go. So again, and I'm seeing many reports of that as well. And again, that's a church that's pretty large, and a lot of people are certainly shocked at the loss of their building. But that is a sign of the power of this tornado. It's taking down larger buildings like that. And again, unfortunately, it went right through Jacksonville. And of course, we'll go back and assess a lot of the meteorology behind this. But apparently, a small-scale boundary set up over here on the eastern side of the state, and really. If you watch that STP output of the computer models, it really did pretty well. It had that STP max moving down in through here tonight, and sure enough, we had all kind of issues. Again, let's go back to WEX 05 and show some images. And again, this is coming from Jacksonville. You saw that from Brett Adair's stream. That is the apartment complex, the Reserve Apartments in Jacksonville. That's very heavily damaged, obviously. And again, this is Pete Matthews Coliseum. The first report indicated that the building was gone, but that's not true, that the building is there. I think there's pretty major damage to the roof, but the building itself is okay. And again, the athletic director tweeted that the building's there, and sure enough, there it is with that photograph. But obviously, a lot of trees are down, and it's just not a good situation in Jacksonville tonight. And again, this is some of the images coming in from Cullman that was taken by Bill Castle from that incredibly large hail that fell earlier tonight. Some of the hailstones up to the size of softballs. So if you're just joining us, it's 10 minutes after 11 o'clock. We've been here for a while. Brenda, let's go back to you real quick.
All right, James, what we're hearing right now, and this is very concerning because in Coleman, we hear that the police and the sheriff's department has extensive damage to their vehicles there. Of course, we depend on the police and the sheriff in a situation like this. So, Christopher, you can see that is a very concerning situation.
The Coleman Area Rural Transportation Service is saying extensive damage to almost all of the buses there. That's problematic. And then the police department with extensive damage to the patrol cars. And right now, 1,100 customers are without power at this point. There were some images that Stephen Quinn had put out earlier. I know we were talking on the fly here, but maybe if we could re-rack that video, because he actually had some video of a patrol car that's sustained damage right outside of the jail there in Coleman County, where he was reporting from earlier.
Yeah, that's right. And the jail had extensive damage,
right.
And serious damage as well. And in a situation like that, there you see it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's inside the jail there. That was the damage from inside the jail. And if it's the same piece of video I'm thinking about, there it is right there. That's just some of the damage there from the patrol cars outside. It doesn't appear as though this particular car took a lot of the damage, but look, you can see that windshield appears to be cracked right there. And then you see the dents on the other patrol cars. Oh, geez. Okay, these are some of the images I haven't seen this extended part here, but that's exactly what they're talking about. So much damage to even our first responders.
And when you think about hail, Chris, you don't think a little bit of hail can do damage like this, but it actually can go through a roof. It can cause the holes in the glass, as you saw there, and those windows aren't easy to bash out,
right.
Let me tell you. And that is amazing. The force, the size of the hail, it was just a mixture for devastation for the area of Coleman tonight.
And from first responders to industry, we were getting reports that the Walmart there, one of the Walmart locations in Coleman, had sustained. James, what row was that on? Is it Olive, if memory serves?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, the roof. Portions of the roof had come in, had collapsed, and at one point I was told that there was an inch of water on the floor inside the Walmart. And that's just inside the business. That's not accounting for the people's cars who are in the parking lot.
And that's the same scenario that people in their homes were having, because the hail apparently did roof damage and people had no power and rain coming into their homes. So it's a huge, huge undertaking to make these repairs after the light of day. Tomorrow it will be a very, very big job.
And these are live images coming in from Jacksonville right there, one of the many storm chasers that we are watching here. I believe this shot is from Brett Adair, who's helping us tell the story of what unfolded there. We have crews en route to Jacksonville, and we have crews that are actually there trying to navigate their way around because they have to be safe because there's so many power lines down and a lot of debris down. James, what are you seeing here?
I was going to say, I want to mention, we got a lot of tornado damage, and a lot of people are concerned that we're not reporting on all the tornado damage, and I understand your frustration. I promise we're going to report everything we know. There's been very major damage in Southside. We've had a lot of damage in St. Clair County. And again, as soon as we find out additional information from St. Clair County authorities, we'll pass that on. But I want to go to Jennifer Gonsolin, who's in Etowah County. And Jennifer, a lot of people are concerned about folks in Southside. And if you're there, what do you know about injuries and the extent of the damage? What can you tell us? Because a lot of people are really, really looking for information.
Those are the questions we've been asking the entire time that we've been out here. That information is still very limited. We've been seeing multiple, though, emergency responders, ambulances heading in the opposite direction here. We're standing just off of Highway 77. You can't see this at this time, but the traffic way backed up. The situation with that is that there have been a lot of trees down just down this road, down Highway 77. The way that one witness described it to me, he didn't just say trees, he said more like a forest down back there. So we're hoping to be able to get back there as soon as possible just to see the extent of that damage. The problem right now is the fact that those power lines are still down. We've been asking the police there who are blocking the roadway, we've been asking them how soon we'd be able to get back there. They say that Alabama Power is still there trying to clear those power lines off the roads. It's very dark, you guys can see that. And without the lights here from cars, we wouldn't be able to see anything out here. So you can just imagine how dangerous it would be for us to travel back there down that road. In just a moment, though, we're going to try to get down this road a little bit further. We're told there's another church that's down there, and that there are a lot of responders that are gathered there in that area, and they'll be able to give us more information than what we've been able to gather just here at this particular area. So, James, we're asking those same questions. We have those same concerns. We'll be bringing that information to you guys. We're out here throughout the night. These responders say they will be out here into the morning hours. So we'll bring it to you as soon as possible. Reporting live here in Southside, Jennifer Gonsolin, ABC 3340 News.
Jennifer, before we let you go, you mentioned you saw ambulances leaving. Did they actually get into the so-called damaged area? And how many ambulances have you been able to observe leaving?
We have seen at this time about 10, at least about 10 ambulances have left this area. We've been out here maybe about an hour and a half at this time. And I see responders actually now traveling in the opposite direction. So that kind of tells us some things as well. So we're going to try to ask them some questions about where they could possibly be going at this time. Because we understand there's also more damage than just here in Southside, although that's where many injuries are at this time. So Brenda, we're asking the questions. We'll bring them to you guys as soon as possible.
All right, we thank you for that, Jennifer. Obviously, there's going to be the number of people possibly injured when you see 10 ambulances. That's very concerning. Again, we just want to remind you that if you are curious, if you have a loved one in the area, we know it's very, very a scary situation, but the best thing that you can do for that loved one is to keep the roads clear. Don't head that way. It can be dangerous to you. It can also set up a dangerous situation for other people that are out there. You saw the traffic was lined up for miles, so chances are even if you headed in that direction, you wouldn't be allowed to get into the area because of the down power lines and some of the debris and the dangerous situation that's set up by this storm.
As you look at some of these live images as we pepper through what we have here, I'm looking at my computer because we have some information coming into the newsroom. One of them is going to be a tweet from Jacksonville State University that says, quote, "There is damage to campus. Trees and power lines are down. Avoid traveling at or near campus." if you need police, and then they list a phone number. I have an update here from Lee Beatty, the fire marshal, as it in regards to Jacksonville, and this is for update to Jacksonville residents. I'm just going to read it here. It says all of Jacksonville's on-duty crews and all recalled Jacksonville firefighters are working diligently to clear the roads to get to those trapped or who have significant damage to their homes. We have numerous local and distant mutual aid departments assisting us or who are on the way to assist us. If you are okay and do not need assistance, do not call 911 to advise that trees are down. If you are injured or trapped, call 911 immediately. If you are in undamaged areas of the city, do not come to the affected area, as you will only hinder the rescue efforts to those in emergent need. We're extremely busy at this time. We ask for your prayers for those affected and as well as our first responders tonight. That's from Lee Beatty, the fire marshal, just now coming into the ABC 3340 newsroom right now.
And Governor Kay Ivey has pledged to send aid as well. Birmingham is sending aid, mutual aid. Fultondale is sending help, Vestavia Hills as well. And of course, as it unfolds, we'll probably, I imagine, see other areas sending help. Other agencies, municipalities, other counties. This was concentrated in central and east Alabama. So amazingly, you know, this was just so widespread, Chris, a major event. And James?
I want to show a picture on WEX 05. This is the first image I've seen of Gamecock Village in Jacksonville. A lot of students live there, and again, it's been hit really hard. We've seen images from the Reserve Apartments, but we have not seen images from Gamecock Village. And again, that's pretty tough looking right there. So again, this is an example of the type of damage that we are seeing in Jacksonville, and I'm afraid it's going to be really rough when we have the first light of day. We get the drones up, we can see this. So I just wanted to show that. A couple of other quick shots. Again, this is the scene all over North Alabama. This is some of the hailstones. In fact, the person that sent that in, they said some of the hail out there is the size of softballs. That's 4 inches in diameter in Cullman earlier tonight. That is the Chevron across the street from the Jacksonville State baseball field. Anybody that goes down Highway 204 coming in from Pleasant Valley and Wellington, you drive past the Pete Matthews Coliseum on the right, the baseball field on the right. That's a Chevron, and you can see that it's not in good shape. It took a serious hit there, and again, Jacksonville is just torn up tonight. Many people that are watching us in various parts of the country are asking about the welfare and health of people in the community there. I just don't know. I just don't know. Let's go back to the radar, if we can do that for a second. I wanted to show one other image, an example of what we are seeing. In fact, let me show you this. I do believe this is credible. I wouldn't show you otherwise. This is from a person that lives in Jacksonville and reporting elderly family members trapped under a house. Any local men that can get there, please help me. So that's the kind of stuff that we're seeing coming out of Jacksonville. And again, that just it represents the fact that this is a pretty destructive tornado, most likely. So let's go back to the radar behind me here and want to show you where we are now. We have no warnings. Charles, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right. No active warnings at the moment, which is fantastic news.
Right. This is the first time we've not had a warning since I don't know when, maybe 6 o'clock or something like that. We've been in continuous weather coverage for about 5.5 hours. And again, we've got, as you can see, heavier rain and storms south of Interstate 20. They're approaching Ashland and Lineville in Clay County. They are approaching Lake Wedowee in Randolph County and Roanoke. These are dropping slowly to the south and east. They have been slowly weakening. The tornado watch will expire at midnight tonight. So at this point, that's a good thing. These are the remaining images that we have here. So let's take a look at this picture coming in off social media, Elisa. We've got this, I think, from Patrick out in the field. And if not, there we go. This is water on Wellington Road. And again, I would imagine we've probably had some folks where we've had the training going on that have picked up 4 inches of rain tonight.
Oh, easily, yeah.
If not more. And we've got aerial flood warnings in effect for a number of counties because of this. So we have to remember, even though the severe weather threat is waning, we've still got some flooding problems. And again, that's from the runoff from the heavier rains that came through there earlier today. And understand we've had reports of tornado damage at Wellington, all the way down through parts of Pleasant Valley and Angel and Jacksonville, and then ultimately over into Cleburne County, and then ultimately over into Georgia. We discussed that if we could get a dominant storm going, there might be a long-track tornado, and it sure looks like this is going to be a long-track tornado. And what I want to do real quick before we go back to WEXO 5, I want to pull up that video one more time. So let's take it. Again, this is the actual tornado itself. And you can't rate a tornado by the way it looks. You just don't do that. That's not the way it works. You rate a tornado based on the damage it causes. You might have a big old nasty looking wedge tornado, and if it doesn't cause much damage, it's not going to be a 5. But this is clearly a larger tornado, and we've heard from the chasers that have been in Jacksonville that based on their experience, the damage is consistent at least with an EF2 and possibly higher, but they don't know because they can only see a limited amount of the damage. You don't know until really the first light of day. But again, this is what it looked like as it approached Jacksonville earlier this evening. And again, it just kept on going over to Nances Creek on Highway 9, kept on going across the county line into Cleburne County. And I want to stress that, this is, I don't want you to think that we're just focusing on Jacksonville only and we're ignoring everybody else. We're just telling you what we know. And we know that there's been damage in St. Clair County. We know there's very serious tornado damage in Southside and Etowah County. Jennifer Gonsolin's there, and she has been working on getting additional information. But authorities right now, they're trying to do search and rescue. They're not going to talk to news people right now because they don't know. They're in the process of going door to door and searching for people to see who needs help, who is trapped, getting them the attention that they need. Many paramedic units, ambulances have been called in from various parts of the state, and we just simply don't know a lot of things right now. We can't tell you the things that we don't know, but as soon as we do know, we'll pass that along, but we try and do it in a responsible way. So again, here's the radar. That's your last batch of showers. And this on the eastern side of the state through parts of Clay and Randolph counties. The good news, the severe weather risk has ended now for Calhoun and Cleburne. Technically, you might be under a tornado watch for a while longer, but I'll say for sure for Calhoun County and for St. Clair County, the risk of severe storms is over. Once this passes south of you, the chance of severe storms has ended, and you can see the storms have dropped south of Interstate 20. So again, you've still got a chance of severe weather until midnight for about the next 35 minutes if you're in Clay County and Randolph County. But as the atmosphere continues to stabilize and the weakening trend continues, the chance of additional severe weather is looking fairly small. But it's been a very rough night of destructive hail and tornadoes in the state, pretty much as was expected. It didn't rain everywhere. Some people didn't get a drop of rain, but for others, they had destructive hail and violent tornado damage. And concerning injuries and things like that, we just don't know at this point. We'll be watching that. And again, the Weather Service will be sending out these survey teams tomorrow. Let me say this. This is from Calhoun County EMA. This is an important message. If you are displaced in Jacksonville due to storm damage, there is shelter available at the Jacksonville Public Safety Complex. That's the new police and fire department building behind the Walmart in Jacksonville. 911 Public Safety Drive Southwest, Jacksonville, 36265. So again, if you are displaced because of the tornado in Jacksonville, there is shelter at the Jacksonville Public Safety Complex, which is known to most in town as the new police and fire department building, and this is behind the Walmart. 911 Public Safety Drive, and that's a great address, by the way, for a facility like that. Jacksonville, Alabama, 36235. Again, we do know that West Point Baptist Church off of Saddle Club Road in Jacksonville is just, the building has been destroyed. That thing's basically been split in half. And, I've been doing this a long time. We have seen church buildings destroyed, but as we've talked about, the church is not the building, the church, it's the people, so they'll be okay. Brenda, back to you.
We have an alum here inside the building who's done some checking and just kind of a rundown of what we know so far. Pete Matthews Coliseum, damage there. Also, Wynn Place Apartments, some heavy damage reported there as well. Gamecock Village, we've talked about that, heavy damage there. The Reserve Apartments, also heavy damage. Logan Hall, we showed you that. Brandon, who is a storm tracker, storm chaser for us. Also, Patterson Hall, there's some roof damage there as well. Also, International House, roof is blown off. And Mason Hall, the music.
That's what I was about to
The
mention. Go
music
ahead.
area, if you will go ahead and understand that, what was it, the water?
Yeah,
It's
the water's
taking on
now
water?
it's now taking on water. I think we have actually a tweet. There it is right there. The music building took some damage, is now taking on water. Most students are away for spring break. Most of the students I've contacted are safe, with some reporting damage to their apartments. So it sounds like that we have some widespread damage even on the
Again.
campus itself, from building to building to building.
Again, and damage to Kappa Alpha Fraternity House. And we already mentioned the West Point Baptist is completely destroyed. So it's going to be a huge undertaking to make some of these repairs. The good news in all of this is it is spring break. Most of the students were off campus at the time, away at home, hopefully. We do understand some have remained and they are on campus, and some people in the area also taking on a lot of damage to their individual homes. They're the Dollar General. Oh my goodness, it looks almost completely destroyed, if not partially, but it's going to be a real mess to try to clean that one up.
This is a live look from, I believe it's Brett Adair, one of the many storm chasers that shares their video with us. Our crews, just so you know, spread throughout. We've been touching base with them. We have Patrick Thomas, who's actually trying to get on the campus, but right now he's just been dodging like an obstacle course. The roads there are really dangerous and treacherous, and at some points he's been really at a checkpoint because the police officers have to make sure everybody is safe going in and out of the area. I don't know if we have any of the other live images from down in the, okay, this is the only other image, and this is Jennifer Gonsolin in Southside, where, as James was pinpointing, he's getting reports of damage there as well. And we don't have an update on injuries, to be frank with you. Our crews are making calls, and right now, as James touched on momentarily ago, you know, these emergency crews, they're busy and they don't have time to brief us. They're trying to save lives and they're trying to free people, which is obviously the right thing to do. We just we certainly hope that that we don't have loss of life at all.
Absolutely.
But some of this damage is staggering.
It really is, and it will be a miracle if there are no major injuries. But Jennifer did allude to the fact that she saw ambulances leaving the area. Amazingly, they did get into the area, and part of the challenge in all of this is getting past the power lines, getting past the downed trees. So in a situation like this, we do have a lot of people who step up. They have the chainsaws and they help in the neighborhood, but they ask you, all the emergency responders ask you not to try to get out on the roadways tonight, to try to respond, try to drive across state to help tonight. Tomorrow will be a different situation, an organized way of moving through these neighborhoods is what will really help these people. But right now the emergency responders are doing the very best they can, and the last thing they need is extra traffic to cause more problems. So we thank you for staying home and watching with us tonight, and James has been keeping you on top of this situation weather-wise all throughout the night from 6 o'clock till now. And James, it seems like hopefully the weather situation has pretty much calmed down a bit.
Right. Things are calming down, and that's a very good thing. That's our Birmingham Skycam. And the dew point has dropped to, what's that, 59. And earlier the dew points were way up in the 60s. In fact, look at the dew point map Charles has up on the graphic system, and you can see the dew points have dropped back into the low 50s up in here. And they're going to keep on coming down, and that's stable air when the dew points go back in the 50s. And again, that's going to replace these 60s. Dew point still 69 at Alexander City and 69 down at Montgomery. So again, the air is still volatile down to the south, but even in Anniston now, the dew points dropped down to 59, sitting at 60 in Anniston. The only area left of concern is a small small part of East Alabama, right in through here, Clay and Randolph counties. And let's put the radar back on here and you'll see what we have. Basically, we have one batch of showers left. Don't see a lot of thunder and lightning here. There's probably a little bit, but it's running through Clay County, Ashland, and Lineville. Yeah, we got thunder in here for sure.
It's there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you had to turn it off so we could see it.
It's too much, yeah.
I mean, we have that. Sometimes you can't see the radar because so much lightning on here. But again, this is southern Cleburne. This is northern Randolph counties. That'll come down across Lake Wedowee, Roanoke, and nothing severe at this point. The storms have been steadily weakening. Still, for about the next 30 minutes or 27 minutes, we have a tornado watch in effect for this part of East Alabama. The tornado watch will expire at midnight. There's your watch. And you can see that this still technically includes St. Clair and Calhoun. Basically, the severe weather risk is over here. You still got Cleburne, Randolph, Clay, Coosa, Chilton, Shelby, Talladega, St. Clair. Aerial flood warnings for parts of Etowah and Blount counties, and a flash flood warning for the northern part of Cullman County. But this whole thing is winding down, and we won't know, Charles, a lot about this until the first light of day.
Yeah, of course, we won't know. We need to get the crews are going to be out there. The Weather Service said they're going to be out surveying at least 2 spots. In fact, the Jacksonville storm, they said it might be on the ground so much they might actually have to send out 2 survey teams or do 2 independent surveys of that for tomorrow. So safety first. It's the light of day that they're waiting on to get the crews out to do those surveys. And then I'm sure they'll be adding to that maybe additional survey areas across the state in spots through the morning time sometime tomorrow, but they'll be out as early as 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And of course, we'll have our drone up flying and getting surveys as well as we go through the morning as well. And Good Morning Alabama starts at 4:30 tomorrow morning, and we will have live coverage, I'm sure, all morning long.
All right. Thank you so much for all your hard work tonight. And Calhoun County, just a reminder, Calhoun County schools will be closed tomorrow.
Also want to let you know that it appears as though Jennifer Gonsolin is saying it appears as though Highway 77 here is about to reopen. And once that does happen, she's going to be able to go a little bit more in depth on maybe getting a closer look at the damage. So, of course, look for more on Good Morning Alabama.
And that is going to be just about all the time we have for now. We thank you for joining us. We thank all the crews and all the first responders out